but when I speak to her on the phone, if only you could find God Hill like I have, the Lord will help you, I know I'm going to heaven. It just seems to have no appeal to me at all. I just want, what I want, and I can't get this feeling that religious people have, that the spiritual answer. When I read that there, all creatures are in search of this powerful beam of love, whether consciously or unconsciously, and I think, yes, that's true, I am as well. Then it goes on saying, but if you don't get it right, you'll make all these mistakes and things,
Well, it's saying, really, that if you're walking along the path of truth and understanding and harmony, so if your energies are attuned, right, to the universal, creative, loving, intelligent process of life, then in some way you are connected and joined, plugged in, if you like, right? But if you're not connected and plugged in, then you're living in a certain, one might say, darkness. So we might actually say that really we're talking about ascertaining or finding the light of knowing, as opposed to living in unknowing, right? So I would say, and the Pathwork would say, that if you come into this planet, into this world, into this incarnated presence, I mean in the sense of in the flesh, carnal means to do with flesh, as a carnivore eats flesh. So if you become enfleshed in spirit, so that you can communicate through body, there is a reason why. If we're saying that nothing's an accident, there's no error, there is a reason for you being enfleshed, having what the Pathwork seems as a communication system for your mind to relate to others. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So, what is the reason? Well, I would say that all minds that come enfleshed, in some way, have lessons to learn that they can't learn if they weren't. Right? Mm-hmm. So, it means they have lessons to learn. Now, if these lessons, you might say, would suggest that without learning the lessons, you're lost or blind. Yeah? Mm. You are, in a sense, ill. So we might say that ill people in need of psycho-emotional spiritual therapy, come into this life for correction, for education, for learning, emotional maturity, growth. Mm. Away from what? Well, if you're living in an endarkened state, you're moving away from an endarkened state, one might say, a delusion. You're moving away from a delusion about yourself and what the world is about. So if one of the thoughts is that if you're deluded and you think of yourself as an I-ness, separate from everyone and everything, things are accidental, then you're going to acquire as much knowledge you can to ensure your safety. And you'll try and ensure your safety by keeping yourself relative to the physical things around you. You'll try and cushion yourself in some way in the world. Now this, as I say, is not going to be without effect. Because the idea that you can keep yourself safe by keeping the physical world in place is a delusion. Safety is a process by which the soul becomes more enlightened in its awareness, so that the vibrations that it gives out are much more consistent with the laws of the universe, so they don't come up against problems in the universe due to their lack of foresight, the lack of understanding. So, for example, one of the major understandings is that the fundamental understandings in psychotherapy is that anger will get you something. Now, from the spiritual domain, it is known that anger will never ever get a human being something positive for itself, because it's fundamentally opposed to the energies of life, the creative, loving, intelligent process. So that in itself, that energy vibration, will cause for them, in the case of anger, or guilt, right, will cause for them the bringing to them of the necessary lessons to free them from those things. So I'm saying that there are lessons that need to be learned for the person to reach that state. Now you talk about people that talk saying, oh, if you found this and that in a certain religion. If you're a seeker, as I am, then you've been through many religions. And as you go through many religions, you experience, through going down a different path, like we did in the beginning, you go down a path you normally haven't explored. And if you go down a path that you normally haven't explored, you experience things that you normally haven't experienced. And it gives you a certain language and a terminology to talk with others familiar with that experience. And your mind grows in experiences and its vocabulary and its ability to understand. So that as you, through experience, grow in your understanding, then hearing the spirit, which is the important thing, the guidance within you, is easier. Because the more you, in a sense, develop or improve your communicative capacities through experiences of that which you're normally not aware of or you don't know about, it's a bit like getting an extra colour in your paint palette. So that if you want to paint a picture and you had 6 colours in your paint palette, then that's going to be very different from if you have 256 colours or 1,000,000 colours. You see, your ability to communicate subtle distinctions improves. Similarly with your word vocabulary. Your ability, if you know subtle nuances, the difference between different words, your ability to communicate effectively in a refined and clear manner improves. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Is this making sense?
Yeah.
So the more experiences you have, the more colours you have in your paint palette for spiritual communication. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So coming here is hard work. Coming here is undoing that which you've done that's led to you being in a state of delusion. And coming out of delusion isn't easy because the familiar is very hardly adhered to, because safety is seen in the familiar.
Mm.
Okay?
Mm.
All right?
Can I say something? A lot of people, I know you're not talking about people who are entrenched in their religion here. You're talking about people who are able to be fluid.
See, really, I'm saying that religion comes from the root religateres, which is really ligatures are like sutures or stitches tying down to some degree. So it has a use, but if it becomes overly attached to, then there becomes an insecurity associated with it. So it's like traditions that you can't not do.
Well, that's what I was trying to make was that a lot of people who are in a particular religion, like the woman you're talking about, don't see outside of it. Because they've just got to follow that path, and that's the path, which is not good. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about being able to move in and out and see different ways.
Well, what we're saying here is, if you really want to learn, do you know what you have to emphasise to learn?
Curiosity.
And curiosity, what is that but the acknowledgement that you don't know?
Yes.
How can you be curious about something that you already know?
Yeah.
Right? So curiosity is the cure.
Also, Hilary, because this lady, I mean, she says, only if you would have found God, and I am so sure to go to heaven. Well, there is no, they know, they have this certainty.
I don't want to take it off this. She has a certainty, and I don't feel it, that it's the right one. I have the Jehovah's Witnesses have a completely different certainty. I tell them what she says. They say all the things that are wrong with it. Tell your friend this, tell your friend that. I tell her what they say. She says they are definitely false religion, evil, don't have anything to do with them, they're a cult. I come here and I hear what I hear here. I go to, or used to go to, the practical school of philosophy thing and hear different things there, and none of them do I know which is right, and don't have a feeling particularly of coming home that if I can just get the feeling I'm on the right track, I'll give it 100%.
Well, in terms of the track offered here, right, you now know what the track is offered here.
Yes.
And the track offered here is just mentioned by Adele.
Curiosity.
Right, curiosity. So curiosity is the absence of certainty.